Welcome to Task 3, Part B. This section is going to carry on from Part A then. And this is about RPL assessment for John's competency there. We're going to carry on with the scenario for John. So in your own time, feel free to read those instructions that we've got there. And you have ideally answered the questions just above. And this section here is actually about role play. Now, you do need to actually record the role play, and ideally you need to find someone that's willing to play the role of John Davies. Now, this could be a classmate, or it could be someone that you are aware of, or that's around your vicinity, or someone you work with or live with them. All right, so let's jump into this role play here. And basically, it gives us very clear instructions for what the candidate, John Davies, or our mock person, is meant to say and do throughout the entire role play, which is fantastic, all right? So let's jump into it. You're playing the role of John Davies, who is the candidate for being assessed for that unit that we've been talking about there. It goes through a little bit of detail and it expands on the role play a little bit more. Expect this role play to take perhaps 30 minutes to 1 hour. Now, whether it takes that long or not is up to how quickly you get through it, of course. Your assessor, Harriet Walsh. Now, you are going to play the role of Harriet Walsh, the assessor, all right? We'll need to prepare you for the RPL assessment, seek your consent, and work through all of the evidence requirements with you, all right? So in the role of John Davies, you're responsible to every part of the assessment provided self-assessment questionnaire with comments. When your assessor, Harriet, informs you about the RPL process, confirm that you understand and consent to proceed. When your assessor, Harriet, reviews your self-assessment questionnaire, they may ask for examples. Use the self-assessment questionnaire and comments to guide you, all right? When your assessor, Harriet, mentions evidence, saying, I have already got that, and show the document RPL John's evidence portfolio there. When your assessor, Harriet, mentions the third-party report, say, I have already got that done, and show the third-party report completed by your supervisor, Mohammed Faisal, in TAE 412. So, we'll come down. Scenario. Today, you will be RPL assessing your student, so you, and I'll just reiterate, you are taking on the role of Harriet, all right? John Davies and his time management skills using the RPL documents, plan and apply time management. John is 52 years old and has worked for Woolworths for 30 years now. Driving a forklift, you will begin by explaining the RPL assessment process to John on camera, recording it, including his right to appeal the process and or his outcome. You will then need to confirm John's understanding and gain his consent to proceed with the assessment. All right. So while assessing John, ensure you demonstrate an awareness of the evidence requirements of the unit. All right. So basically, this is stating what would be seen, what needs to be seen in the role plan. So you need to clearly explain the RPL assessment process to the candidate. All right. And that may sound like, hi, my name is, nice to meet you. What's your name? Tell me a little bit about why you've applied for RPL. Right? And then you say, all right, the RPL process will look like this. Then you just explain the steps. Confirm the candidate's understanding of the RPL assessment process, and you may say, does all of that make sense? Do you have any questions at all? Seek the candidate's consent prior to commencing the RPL assessment. You could say, are you ready to commence the RPL? And do you have any questions, concerns, or anything you would like to clarify before we get started? Review the candidate's RPL self-assessment questionnaire and ask questions where necessary to clarify answers. So you may look at their questionnaire, and if there's any questions that come up, you may want to ask those. Discuss the RPL evidence portfolio requirements. So you may ask John, the hypothetical John, do you have any questions around the evidence portfolio that you've filled out or that you will be filling out? And ask him any questions, and the person playing John will maybe ask some questions. Review and discuss evidence brought by the candidate. So you could look at the evidence and ask some questions around that. And monitor for WHS risk and hazards and respond appropriately. So that may be done by, if it's a video that's being done online or over Zoom, you could say, hi, John, just before we get started, please make sure that you know where your closest exit is. Or if you're doing it face-to-face, you could say, all right, John, let's just make sure that we all know where the emergency exit is. And in the case of fire, this is what we're going to do. And you could also mention anything that's in the room that may present a hazard or a danger to yourself or John there. Provide the candidate with the opportunity to submit further evidence as required there. So you may want to tell John to make a list of any further evidence that he wants to provide. All right, so we're going to come down, assessment responses script. All right, so this is actually going to be provided or read out or spoken by John there. All right, and you're going to go through this. Now, John, the hypothetical John, may not actually read every answer. They may simply just summarize the key items there. All right, you're going to discuss that with him as Harriet, the assessor there. All right, so we'll come down. All right, not too challenging. This is just basically what John is going to provide you with, and you'll respond accordingly. You may ask further questions about each of these items. You certainly could do that. All right, come down. All right, so for this section, what needs to be submitted is the assessor record tool with evidence task 1 and 2 completed. All right, to now be used for the next task, task 3C. All right, and as it says there, if your assessor is unable to observe you during the role play, video evidence must be submitted of you doing the role play. All right, and we're just going to quickly take a look at the observation checklist in regards to how you will be marked or what you're going to be marked against. All right. So you are going to be marked against, do you clearly explain the RPL assessment process to the candidate? All right, very important. Do you confirm the candidate's understanding the RPL assessment process and the right to appeal? Do you seek the candidate's consent prior to commencing the RPL assessment? Do you review the cancer RPL self-assessment questionnaire and ask questions when necessary to clarify answers? Do you discuss RPL evidence portfolio requirements using the RPL assessment documentation as a framework to guide the interview? Do you review and discuss evidence brought by the candidate? And then next, number 7, we have, do you monitor for WHS risks and hazards and respond appropriately? And then last of all, do you provide the candidate with the opportunity to submit further evidence as required? This is a great checklist. This could be something you have by your side as you are conducting the RPL interview. And you can make sure that when you do your video, that you touch on each of these items. That's probably a very simple way to make sure that you stay on track and you meet all of the requirements there. Thanks so much for watching the video. If you have any questions, as always, reach out to your trainer or assessor and they'll be able to support you with this task. Thanks so much for watching.